Hey guys, this is Dinosaur Drawer, and today I'm gonna show you guys how to draw the Utahraptor. And this video was requested by the Speedy Gonzalez, or Gonzalez. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but yeah. So what you're seeing right now is actually a sketch that I did last night, and it was actually someone else's artwork. I don't really remember who it was that actually did this artwork, but I kind of tried to apply a couple of things in perspective and things that I've learned for the past few weeks, and this is actually what it turned out to be. And I'm showing you guys this because I think that the raptor that we're gonna draw will be at the same kind of pose as this. I'm not sure. I think it's a Gallimimus, but I'm not sure. And it will also have those kind of feathers on his arm, so it will kind of look like what you're seeing right now. I really like the way his feet actually turned out. This might have been actually a little bit, I could have drawn this like this as well. Just one toe actually sticking out, but I'm not gonna, maybe we will do that in the Utahraptor drawing. So yeah, if you don't know what the Utahraptor is, it is actually another, I believe it's one of the biggest raptors that they found, but I'm not sure. It's basically the same kind of raptor that you see in the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World movies. It won't be a lot different than that. The only difference it has is the Utahraptor actually has a lot of feathers on his body. So yeah, let's get into the video. Okay. Also, I'm not sure how long my camera will keep recording because my phone is actually has a couple of little problems. It won't really oh, I accidentally got it out of focus. It won't really recharge while I'm recording a video actually. So that's kind of annoying. So we will just have to see for how long I can record this, and then I might have to make a second part, or maybe even a third. We'll see how it turns out. Alright, so what we want to start with is actually, well, I'm actually gonna draw it facing that way, just because the other sketch is facing that way, and it's something different. I normally draw my dinosaurs facing this way, but let's now start, otherwise we will have to make 3 parts. Alright, so what we first want to draw is his hip. So we're gonna draw a circle for the place where his leg will be attached. Now we want to draw an oval shape for the basic shapes of his body, like this, and might actually be a little bit more like this, just like drawing a rib cage over here. That's actually the best way to describe it actually. And then his spine will be over here, and then we wanna get in the basic shape of his tail. Something like this. And then his hip will be over here. That's basically the big bump that you're seeing right there. His back. And then his neck. I'm not sure how I want to draw in his neck. I might be, maybe I'll just draw it in like this. Facing a little bit more forward, because it's actually running. So now here's his shoulder for the other arm. here will be his shoulder for the right arm. And now let's get to work with the pose that he is in. So we're gonna basically draw in it the bone kind of structure, shapes, something like this. I'm not sure how long his legs actually are supposed to be, but I think this is pretty close. So be sure to actually try and make an imaginary line to where his leg would be attached to his hip, to his pelvis, I suppose that's what I should call it. And then over here we just draw a big shape like this. Just the basic kind of shapes. And then we want to draw in his other leg, which will also be, well, let's say it has kind of a little bit of a perspective in it, so that means that this hip will be a little bit more forward like this, so it will be attached about over there. So make it evenly long. Let's not have too much of a curve in this. A little bit more like this. Well, actually this is supposed to be a little bit longer, this line. And then we are making this ankle kind of thing, and then his foot kind of goes like this. So let's draw in the shapes for his other leg. And then for his foot, just do the same kind of thing. Just like, see, you could see it as a horse kind of hoof. And I think this is supposed to be a little bit shorter. Alright. And this might actually be a little bit too, well, I don't really care about this part because we won't see this part at all. But I'm gonna make it just a little bit shorter because it's a little bit too long. I mean, this ankle kind of bone. It's not supposed to be that long. Alright, and then just again draw in something like a horseshoe or something. And this is actually supposed to be a little bit more slender than this one, because this one is also stretched quite a bit, but not as much as this one. And yeah, his neck might be a little bit too long, so I'm just gonna refine his neck just a tiny bit. Maybe this is a tiny little bit better, I'm not sure. Alright, now we're gonna draw the basic line for his arm. And kind of his shoulder will be over here, so that's what you're seeing right now. And this arm is also over there. And yeah, let's just erase those lines because they're really annoying me. So again, this is just doing the basic sketch of the whole dinosaur, kind of. So it might actually turn out very rubbish, but we'll just have to have a little bit of faith. So then we can draw in some lines for his shoulders, and then we have an indication of the muscle of his arm over there. But now let's draw in his fingers. And I know that normally when you want to draw it really accurate, the fingers can't actually he can't actually bend his wrist inwards, so he can't actually bend his wrist towards that side. But we're gonna draw it kind of a Jurassic Park style. I'm still gonna try and get it as accurate as I can, but I also just want to kind of get it Jurassic Park style, just a tiny little bit, because those claws look really awesome. So just draw them in like this. And the other one you can't really see. You can maybe see one claw over there. And then don't really touch this anymore, because over here there will be a lot of feathers coming out like this. Well, let's actually make this a little bit more realistic looking. Something like this. And that's the reason why we won't be able to see that anymore. So we're gonna erase that, because there will be feathers over there. But we want this to be just a tiny bit more like this. And let's get the other hand in. Just do the same kind of thing. Just make something like a wrist, something like this, and then draw a couple of lines like this, like the knuckles on his fingers, and then draw the claw inwards, and then just draw a little bit of padding. This always kind of gives you a nice looking hand. And this is something that I just recently found out, I recently learned. So yeah, it's really, if you draw more, you get better at it. That's just how it goes. So I'm gonna make this really muscular front little arms. Well, they are not small by any means, but I want to make them really muscular. And now let's first just get a little bit more of his tail in. So we're not going to press down too hard on this, because we want to draw a couple of feathers going down his tail. Okay, so now we want to draw in his head, and I do need a reference photo for his head. I'm not sure if they actually did find a accurate, well, a full skull of the Utahraptor, but I'm not sure if they, yeah, I'm really not sure if they did. I don't think they did, but they might have. So the reference photo that I'm using now is just a simple kind of looking head. And I'm gonna draw his mouth actually open, so we're gonna change that in a bit. So his head actually goes like this. Then he has a curve, and then right at the tip his head goes like this. And then he has like a line that goes like this, and then it goes like that, kind of. And I might have actually made his head a little bit too long, so I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter, just a little bit. Yeah, I'm really sorry if I'm not if I won't be able to get his head accurate, because there are a lot of reference photos, but all of them are kind of different. So I'm not sure how his head is supposed to look, to be really honest. And then his lower jaw kind of goes like this. We're gonna make his jaw really wide opened, like this. He has a very small lower jaw, as you can see. I don't really like the shape of his neck the way I have it right now. Just looks really maybe I have to make this a little bit more like that. This looks a little bit better. Alright, so now we can start try and get some detail in his feet. So what we first want to do over here is draw his ankle. So draw a bump like this, and then just draw a couple of, like the same thing as what you did over here, but a little bit more bumpier. Something like this. And then the other one kind of goes like this. So that's gonna be, well, actually, I made a mistake, because this foot, this toe, to be precise, this toe is supposed to go like this. We're gonna make a lot of padding underneath there, and then just draw in a huge claw like this. And then you can just draw this other nail on the other side of his foot, but it's really dark, so you can't really see it properly. And then just continue on doing his foot like this. And he does have a heel. So that's gonna be that one. And for this one, well, again, make his ankle. And I want to kind of make something like this. And maybe I made it a little bit too much like that. And then just kind of do a second one over there. And then this toe is kind of he's kind of holding it up a little bit, so you still kind of have that same huge claw right there. So it looks kind of like this. And he might have this claw right here as well. Alright, so now the only thing that we still need to do is erase the unimportant parts and go over the important parts and make it a little bit darker. So that's what I'm gonna do right now, so I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back. And yeah, I didn't really go over his tail, because his tail kind of is, well, we still have to put a few feathers on, so it's better not to darken the tail too much, otherwise it will just look kind of odd later on. But we can focus now some more on his face. So basically we want to draw a basic hole in his face right there, and I do want him to have a little bit more of an eyebrow pronounced right there. So I'm just drawing that in quickly, and I do want him to have a little bit of shadow over here, so we can draw in this kind of hole. So it's starting to look a little bit more like a raptor now. And then his eye would be about over here, just beneath this shadow line. something like that. And then his nose would be right at the tip of his snout. So yeah, now we can put in his teeth, and he just has very small little teeth that are almost every single one of them are the same size, I would say. Goes something like this. We could draw in his tongue. I'm not sure if that will add for the better kind of look. Well, let's just do it. It might look pretty cool with his tongue out. And this drawing, I didn't really use any reference, but the only thing that I used for reference is a reference for his face. So that's actually the only reference I used. So mostly this I'm drawing mostly out of my head, which is kind of progress, because I'm trying to get better at drawing, and that's kind of a way to get better at it. So now what we want to do is draw in a couple of these feathers really roughly, but we do want to put them at the right kind of angle. It's almost like he has a couple of wings, and now we want to do a second row of them, a little bit darker. So we're not gonna go into this anymore too much anymore, because we just want it to have kind of a clean look, not too much going on, something like that, because that way the feathers look more realistic. Now we want to do the same thing on his tail, and on his tail the feathers actually go like this. So first I'm gonna refine the shape of his tail to make it look a little bit better, and then on the tip of his tail the feathers kind of go like this. Something like that. I think that looks pretty accurate so far. Same thing over here. We don't want to do too much of a feathered kind of structure, but we do want, and this is actually part of his body still, so let's draw that part in. He does have kind of an impression of his of a chest, so a couple of muscles there, and then just draw in a couple of lines and maybe give it a bit of a darker tone, because it is underneath his body. And we could actually draw a couple of feathers on his head like this, which is actually a shame, because I already drew in his neck very dark, so it will look a little bit less as good as on the tail. But yeah, just try and play around with everything a little bit, and eventually it will turn out to be a great Utahraptor. So I'm just darkening in the feathers a little bit. So it kind of stands out a little bit more. And you might want to draw in his eye, like that. A little bit more shadow on his tongue. So yeah, on the next part I'm gonna focus on texturing and putting a little bit more shadow in the drawing itself. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end this part right here and make a second part, I guess. So if you liked the video, leave a like, comment below what you think about the video and the drawing, and don't forget to subscribe. So this was Dinosaur Drawer, and goodbye.